Hey folks, in this short video we're going to do a quick review for the stats for the Momentum Breakout Power Target System for the week of May 11th through the 15th. Another real good week. We didn't have a single stop out, you can see there, and nice traction in the market, and we hit target 1 every single day. On Thursday we hit target 1 twice, you can see. So over on the left, let's just take a quick look. Over on the left is representing just target 1 getting hit and the various distances. We have the date. You can see what the alert was, long or short. Then the price you see, that's the price where you actually would have been filled by just clicking the mouse button on market to enter at market right after the software confirms the entry. So as soon as you see the software confirm that entry, you could do nothing more than just click a market order and you're in. You're going to get filled at that price or within a tick or two. Okay, no biggie. But that's the actual fill price past the alert barrier. And then the targets are dynamic targets that are computed each day based on the energy and the ranges in the market at that point in time, and also based a little bit on market profile. And so you can see on Monday, we had target 1 hit relatively quickly for 3-pointer. Then Tuesday we had a short that hit a first target of 5 points. Wednesday the 13th, a larger, you can see that was a day where the target got computed out further, and we hit target 1 at 13.5 points. Right. Thursday we had 2 entries, 2 alerts. There was an initial early morning short, and then that ran down and hit target 1, but that fizzled and the market ran back into the morning range, dynamic trigger range, and then we got an alert to the upside there. You can see long and a fill at 27.97, and that ended up running and hitting all 3 targets, but you can see we hit target 1 then on the 1 target strategy on the left. And then Friday we had a long alert and we ran out and hit target 1. So no stop outs, target 1 hit every day of the week, Thursday twice, and then total net points 40 points. So real nice smooth week for the Momentum Breakout system. And again, this is following the system mechanically and not having to second guess or think objectively about the entries. You're just following the numbers and basically flying on instrument panel. So over on the right you can see the stats for the follow-through for the 3 targets that the system generates. You can see that we had 3 days this week where all 3 targets were hit, and we had Wednesday there was 2 targets, and then both Thursday and Friday we just made it to target 1. Going forward in the future, folks, I'm going to be getting into the more advanced types of trade management and the trade configurations that you can use with these multiple targets. And don't forget, we have the system trailing stop and we have parabolic stops which get generated. So that creates lots of potential variations for money management in following this system. Our big recommendation is that everybody new gets started off with the EZ method, which is just take it off at target 1. Keep it simple in the beginning. Trade 1 contract, 1 micro contract, get in at the entry and go for target 1. Do that for 3 weeks. You should come in and spend a week on sim mode, get the mechanics down. Then for 3 weeks you should stay on the EZ method where you just go for target 1. And then after that, you're into your 2nd month, you can get into some of the more advanced types of configurations, because what you want to do is you want to eventually start scaling up size and scaling out over distance. This is how you hedge out into market movement and take advantage of not only the quick moves but also the extended moves. So in future trainings we're going to start getting into the different configurations and the phases that you can work through and basically graduate into and build your position sizes over time. The whole key to profiting more is to be able to gradually pyramid bigger sizes and incorporate a little bit more sophisticated trade management. So we'll be getting into that in future lessons next month. Right now, new folks should be focusing on the one target strategy and just taking advantage of this great market action we're getting. And again, with these statistics here, this is all mechanical. There's no trading skill involved. You don't have to worry about the wiggles. You just enter the trades, place your targets, place your stop, and if the system tells you to trail the stop, you move it. That's it. And we're achieving these kinds of results. What we're going to do in today's video is we're going to walk through the 1-minute chart for each one of these days and show you exactly how the system played out and how the trades followed through, right? And that way you'll get a good idea of how to follow this system and how to interpret it, as well as seeing how it functions. So today's video is going to give you a real good feel for what to expect from the system, how to follow it without worrying too much about it, and again, the most important thing, play it mechanically. Now, just to review real quickly, to follow the Momentum Breakout Power Target System for the ES, you're going to want to set your page tabs to the ES-M, standing for Momentum System. And you'll see there in the upper left-hand corner it says ES Momentum. The main components on this screen, the system comes online roughly 5 minutes after market open. You're going to see the range high and the range low. That is a static trigger range that's put in place each day after the open. It's not going to change for the remainder of the session. That range is going to be the balance point for the remainder of the session, and also it provides you with a visual reference point for the market action. If we're moving above the opening range, then you want to be thinking long entries. If we're starting to move below, you want to be thinking short entries. It's that simple. Just above is where we actually get the alerts, and the alert is the trade price barrier that gets generated outside of the morning range. We don't trade off the morning range. That's just the balance point and your visual reference point. The system at some point will generate a long or a short entry barrier outside of the initial range. So that's the green part. You'll get a timestamp for when it occurs. As the trade progresses, you'll see the negative and the positive traction. Over on the right, you'll see the first target that gets generated, as well as the initial trailing stop. And then obviously all the trades that are long, you're going to see everything is green. If we're trading short, you'll see everything is red and the trend direction pointing down, red. In the system notes, which you'll want to have open to follow the Momentum Breakout system, because the notes will help you also understand what's going on as well as confirm things. You'll see the trade barriers, you'll see the targets, you'll see the trailing stop will get archived in the notes section during each session. Okay, let's start off and take a look at the market action and the system performance for Monday, the 11th, where we got a move to the long side, and you can see we hit a 3-point target, and then we ended up hitting all of the 3 system generated targets to the upside. So let's pop over to the 1-minute bar chart, which is what we recommend you watch this system on, because you'll be able to see the 1-minute closes past the barrier. This is what you would see just a few minutes after market open. The green vertical line there represents the opening price, 9:30 New York time. And we're just waiting for the system to generate the morning range. And this is what that would look like on your 1-minute chart.
Power Emini, trade alert, long.
290375.
A little while later, the system generates our long trade price barrier and gives us the barrier price. Now, this is not to be confused with a entry price. This is a barrier. This is where we look for the 1-minute bar to actually close above, and this is what that would look like on your 1-minute chart. You can see how the price has now poked out of the initial morning range, and then the alert software has generated the trade barrier. That's that green horizontal line. So Again, we're still in a no trade zone. We want to wait for the 1 minute bar to close past that green horizontal line now. And there you can see we have a 1 minute closing bar above the trade price barrier, right? So it's this simple. Once you have that closing bar, you go ahead and enter at market. You're not going to worry about a tick here or there, or if you're a point or two past the barrier. As soon as you get the close, you just take the trade. This system can be sloppy at times, but it all averages out over the series of sessions as you continue to follow this out over time. So we'll have super precise markets, we'll have a little bit sloppy markets. It all gets averaged out, and it's something you don't have to fret about. And so we place our buy at market order, and we would get filled at 29.05 or thereabouts within a tick or two. Now I'm going to just go ahead and leave this graphical buy order in here at 29.05 to show you where we would have been filled on the entry. In the system notes at this time, you're going to see the following notes that are in there for confirmation. You had the long trade price barrier, and it's showing you that price level. And then it's showing you the actual entry confirmation price had you just entered a market order at the time of this confirmation. You're likely getting in right at 29.05 or thereabouts. It's going to show you the initial stop, and then it's going to project out our three targets, T1, T2, and T3. The very first thing you want to do upon getting filled is make sure that you get a stop loss order in place. This is very important in case you would lose power. Always have to have a stop loss in place. So make sure that goes in right away first. So you can see that right after getting filled, there was an initial surge that pulled back a little bit towards the top of the trigger range and a little bit past your entry, but then went on very quickly to slingshot up and hit target 1, all within about 10 minutes. So on Monday, target 1 was a real easy first target to hit. At that point, you'll see the target 1 hit confirmation in the system notes. We'll archive the price where target 1 was, and you'll see that the next dynamic target is presented up in the dynamic target box in the middle part of the software there. And then also we got a trailing stop move. Okay, so if we pull back and we look at the follow through on the entire session, then you can see that after our entry, their price was able to run up and hit all of Monday's three targets. The alert went out for a trade price barrier at 29.0375, and then you would have pulled the trigger on confirmation of a 1 minute close past that price level, and you would have gotten filled at 29.05 or thereabouts within a tick or two. That's represented by the blue line and that green circle. So that was where you would have gotten filled mechanically, and then you would have set your stop, and then you would have set your first target. Now T1 got hit relatively quickly up there, and that was a 3-point gain. But then notice how price came back down, actually passed all the way through your entry, went back down below the alert level, went all the way back down to the top of the morning range, and even went below it for a little while. However, it stayed above the system stop that was trailing below, and then price was able to run back up and actually ran back and hit target 1 again. But notice for all the up and down gyrations and all the spikiness back and forth, we ended up putting in higher highs and lower lows, and price was able to very sloppily, but it trended higher and was able to take out our three targets. That's one of the big advantages of following the system is you don't have to worry about the wiggles. Just ignore them. The system is able to ascertain the highest probability direction of the market for the day, and then once we start moving, we compute the targets, which are also very accurate, and all you got to do is play the numbers. Don't worry about the wiggles. I'm going to be purposely showing you how volatile the market can be, although we still end up running and hitting all the targets. The way you want to think about it is, I mentioned this in the last video, just picture throwing a little paper cup into a little bubbling stream that's kind of meandering, winding around, and you're throwing the cup in and you just watch the stream carry that cup, and the cup just floats downstream, right? That's what we're attempting to do also. We're attempting to plant our contracts in the market, in the general direction of the stream and have the price action carry our contracts along. We don't want to be worried about the wiggles. So Monday was a successful day. We hit all three targets. Target 1 was +3. Target 2 was 7 3/4 gain, and target 3 was 12 3/4 points. On Tuesday, 5/12, we had a short alert with a fill at 29.23.25 or thereabouts, and that ran down very quickly to hit target 1 at a +5 point gain. You can see over on the right, we actually did hit all three targets that day as well. So here's what Tuesday looks like on your 1-minute chart. You can see the gray line up at the top there. That was at 29.25.25, and then the actual entry would have been at 29.23.25, which is represented by the horizontal blue line as well as that green round circle. That's where you would have taken your entry. You can see how the market quickly dropped down into T1 +5. And then again, just like Monday, notice how volatile the market got and non-directional, and we just kind of meandered up and down, spiked up and down, went all the way back past your entry as well as back past the alert price. But the trailing stop was still above all this price action, and had you done nothing more than just followed the mechanical numbers, you would have stayed in this trade. And notice later how the market eventually broke back down and ran relatively quickly to T2. That was a 13.5 point gain from your entry. And then price continued lower, actually ran all the way down to within a couple ticks of T3, and then backed off and ran back up to the T2 level. Now here's the thing, if you were sitting there and happened to be watching this, then yeah, if you get that close to T3, a couple ticks away, hit the exit button and just call it a day and don't worry about those ticks, right? Just be done with it. Bird in the hand is worth two in the bush. You had a triple that day, take it. If you weren't around and you weren't able to make quick action like that, notice how price was able to, price bounced and got sucked back up on probably a short squeeze, ran back up to T2, but then eventually the overall momentum of the market that session drove price down and definitely penetrated T3 for a fill, and that was a 21 3/4 point gain on that position. So Tuesday, successful momentum breakout day, all three targets hit. On Wednesday, we received another short alert with a fill at 28.32 or right around there. And the first target was computed out a little bit further away, and we hit target 1 at +13.50. And we actually ran out and hit two targets that day. And this is what that 1-minute chart looks like on Wednesday, 5/13. We had an alert go off for a trade barrier at 28.32.50 with a subsequent 1-minute close right below. So there was actually a fill just 2 ticks below 28.32. And then you can see we relatively quickly ran down to hit T2 +13.50, and then as well run down to hit target 2 for +30. Later, after hitting T2, you can see we had it a little bit lower, but then we got into a short squeeze, pushed the market all the way back up towards T1, and then the market was kind of stuck in a gyrating range for quite a while. Later in the session, though, you can see price made a run and got right down towards T3. So we got really close. We'll give the system an E for effort on that one, even though there wasn't a technical fill right at the target price. Now on Thursday was the only day where we got 2 alerts that filled, and you can see that first alert short where there was a fill at 27.75. That ran down and hit a quick 8-point target, but then that down move fizzled in the market, bounced back, and basically got sucked back into the morning range on a short squeeze, only later to hit the trailing stop and issue a new alert to the long side at 27.94.75. So here's what that first short alert looks like. The fill was at 27.75, represented by the blue line with the green circle. That's where you would have got filled if you just hit the market enter at market after receiving the trade confirmation from the software and placing your order down there at T1. You can see price just ran down, hit that 8-point target. But the market failed to continue and run down to hit T2 and T3, and instead did a kind of a big reversal on a short squeeze. And this is what the 1-minute chart looks like after the new alert long at 27.94.75. On this particular alert, we had a little bit of an anomaly go on with the price. What happened was price hit the trailing stop, and we should have got an immediate alert. Should have turned around and gave us an alert at the 27.94 level. However, there was some kind of a delay, and the alert didn't go out until we were actually sitting up at T1 the first time. However, notice price pulled all the way back down and went below the trade barrier again, the gray line, and then we turned around, and then lo and behold, we got a second 1-minute confirmation bar trigger past the trade barrier. Okay, so you could have gotten filled there. And by the way, this underscores a real important point about these levels. These levels, once they're generated, are set in stone for the session. So I've mentioned many times, this is not a trade-by-trade system. Once the software computes and generates these levels are valid levels throughout the entire session. The trade barrier alert levels, the 3 targets, okay, those are static. The fact that price ran back down below the alert level and then turned around and reclosed back above it, and you had plenty of time too. There was this over 10 minutes to do that. You had plenty of time to take that entry and go for those targets. So even though that was a little quirky on that particular alert, there was still plenty of time to get in just above the alert trigger price. You can see we ran up and hit target 1 for plus 4.5 points. Target 2 was 12.25 points. And then again, you can see the volatility. We backed way back, came all the way down below your entry and below the alert price. But again, if you're following the system trailing stop, which was down away from all this trade action, all this price action, then you stayed out of harm's way. And notice how price, by end of session, turned around and ran all the way up to hit T3 for plus 20.25 points. So again, this is what I've been saying all along. You can easily trade this system mechanically, not worry about the wiggles, because things just end up resolving themselves over the series and working out in our favor. If you tried to guess that price was going to go up in T3, you'd be sitting there biting your fingernails all session. But just following the system stop and letting things progress and unfold is the way to follow this system. And finally, you can see on Friday there, 5:15, we had a long alert with a fill at 28.35.75, or right around there, and 2 targets hit on the 1 target strategy, plus 675. And then if you were playing multiple targets, target 2 was 18.25. Here's what that looks like on your 1-minute chart. You can see that we got the fill there at the blue horizontal line in the green area. And even though we had a little bit of volatility where price came back, we got some drawdown, took a little bit of heat there. Price ran up, popped up, and hit T1. Now notice, again, a very volatile week, but we had great follow through. Notice how price came all the way back against you, went back against the actual alert level there, the horizontal gray line, and we traded in a lot of churn below that area, only to pop back up and run up and hit T2 before the end of the session. Never made it to T3. The moral of the story, I hope you've been able to see, is that with this system, you do not have to worry about what price is doing. It's better to not be watching the wiggles. Play on instrument panel, follow the system numbers. It's way more intelligent than you are, and is way more intelligent than me. So all we do is wait for the numbers to get computed, and we play those numbers. If you do that, and you can adhere to this system mechanically, then you'll be able to achieve these kinds of gains. As I mentioned earlier, the Momentum Breakout system Power Target system, as well as the Emini desktop alert software, is a standalone system. You can use it to trade any platform that you're trading. Thinkorswim, TradeStation, Sierra Charts, NinjaTrader, so on and so forth. It's very easy to take the numbers and just plot the horizontal lines to work with on your chart. And as I mentioned, the system notes confirms everything, so you wouldn't even really need to look at a chart if you didn't want to. You could still take the trades just by playing the numbers. Now, if you happen to be a Ninja platform user, Ninja 7 or 8, we have a great indicator, a companion indicator that automatically plots all of these price levels right on your chart for you. So you don't have to plot anything or move anything around. You get the early morning range, you'll get the trade price barrier alerts, and then you'll get the trade confirmations as well as the trailing stop and all the targets painted right on the chart for you. So this is a nifty companion tool that we have included with your membership at no extra charge. Make sure if you're using Ninja 7 or Ninja 8 that you contact us and make sure you get this additional tool, because it's going to really add another dimension to following the system.